Welcome everyone to Coach Ben's Case by Case. Today's case is she wants a divorce. Let's jump right into what this grieving husband sadly has to say about his failing marriage. Can it be saved? Let's find out.
I don't want to lose my family. I recently was told by my wife that she wants a divorce. We've been married a little under 3 years now and have a young son who is not quite 2 years old yet. She said that she wants a divorce to protect our son. She wants the house and expects me to leave. The arrangement would be I would still take care of our son during the day while she's at work and then still work in the evenings.
All right. So, what do we have here? Let's go ahead and look at the first part of this case. I don't want to lose my family. I recently was told by my wife that she wants a divorce. Okay, so sounds pretty serious. I expect to hear something very serious for the reason for wanting a divorce. So let's see how serious this is. We've been married a little under 3 years. That is very little time to be married and already wanting a divorce. It could be about fighting. Some type of difference in opinion that was perhaps found out right now. See, this is what I call the synchronization process, the first 10 years or longer of a marriage, a lifelong relationship. The first years, especially the first 3 years, lots of arguments. It's inevitable in most cases. Some people are lucky, minimal arguments, but most people have to go through the troubles, especially living together with a whole set of potential problems, disagreements and such. Let's go ahead and see. Have a young son, so they already had a child. I would say that's way too soon, but, it happens. Let's see what happens. Who is not quite 2 years old yet. She said that she wants a divorce to protect our son. Once again, I expect to hear something very serious for that reason. Why is she saying to protect the son? So let's see what the husband has going on, because obviously she's pointing the finger at him. She wants the house and expects me to leave already. Just 3 years being with each other. How? That's terrible. That's a horrible situation. 3 years in the marriage, already dedicated to living in a house together, already had a child, and already talking about divorce. The arrangement would be I would still take care of our son during the day while she's at work and then still work in the evenings. Well, it sounds fair, but we have to dig a little bit deeper to see what's really going on here. Kind of interesting.
I'm fine with these things if it has to go down this way because I want what's best for my son. I want him to have security and safety. What I wonder is if there is any way I can prove to my wife that our marriage is worth keeping. I admit I was an autopilot for a long time and didn't know how to seek help to heal myself to be a better husband. A year into our marriage, I lost my mom and insulated myself from everyone and became afraid to open up or even feel too deeply.
All right, so let's see what we found out. I'm fine with these things if it has to go down this way. So he's already tossing in the towel because I want what's best for my son. Okay, but you shouldn't want to give up in this scenario. We don't even know what's going on yet. I want him to have security and safety. Okay, that's what any parent should desire for their children. What I wonder is if there is any way I can prove to my wife that our marriage is worth keeping. You see, that's the right answer. Not already talking about defeat. So let's see what the problem is, if he finally gets to it. I admit I was an autopilot for a long time and didn't know how to seek help to heal myself to be a better husband. Okay, so he's going through something. Mentally and emotionally, obviously. A year into our marriage, I lost my mom and insulated myself from everyone and became afraid to open up or even feel too deeply. See, there we go. Emotionally unavailable is what they call it. I call it being silent and weak. Look, anything can happen in our lives. It's how we handle it, all these tragic situations, that counts. It's how we handle it, because that's going to determine how your future and your present situation, what the outcome is going to be, how it's going to go. So let's see if she's a team player, because she's asking for a divorce because he's emotionally unavailable. This is a big problem. It's a very big problem in many relationships. And that's why I always say, speak up. Don't even think about committing yourself in a lifelong relationship if you're too afraid to speak up. If you have, I made a stream on being shy. Shyness is weakness. That's the title. Because it is. In order for a lifelong relationship to work, both partners must be mature and outspoken. They have to be completely open like a book. What's going on? What are you thinking? How are you feeling? Constantly. Every single day. What's going on in your mind? Not being annoying and nagging about it, but just checking in with your partner. Hey, feeling good? It's usually a joke when the wife asks, honey, what's wrong? Or you ask your wife, honey, what's wrong? And they say, I'm fine. That's a recipe for disaster. Number one, saying that you're fine is highly immature. You need to share anything and everything with your partner. Otherwise, there is no relationship, because there's no trust. Now, I understand if you're not ready to talk about it yet, but tell your partner that you're not ready to talk about it. Otherwise, you're going to have a situation like this case right here, lasting for years. And then one of you guys is talking about divorce because you can't take it anymore. That's where this is going. So opening up to each other is a must. It's a requisite. Let's go ahead and move on.
She tried to warn me and tell me the path we were on was going to lead to this. But it's like I could only partially hear it. I thought I could find it within myself to be better and to change. But I realized I didn't know how. I was defensive and passive-aggressive and mean at times because I thought I was fulfilling my end of the bargain in our marriage. Sadly, I wasn't growing as her partner and was just stagnant.
Okay, so she tried to warn me and tell me the path we were on was going to lead to this. Yeah, absolutely. Because you're giving her the silent treatment, and it doesn't matter what it's for. If you can't get over your grievances, go see a psychologist. You have to be strong enough to overcome anything, any tragic loss, tragic situation. Otherwise, you can forget about having and sustaining a relationship. You wanted the relationship. This is where we have to say man up or woman up if it's on the woman's side. Because you can't enter a serious relationship and be like, I'm sorry, I'm emotionally unavailable, and just give the silent treatment. That's actually a form of abuse. And it doesn't matter if you think it's righteous, like, oh, my mom died. I'm not going to say get over it, but you will have to get over it. You can honor her memory by maintaining your marriage. How about that? Because she's not gone. Your mother's not gone. She's probably watching over you, as many believe. I'm not religious, but I do believe that we're not forever gone, that we do stay by their side in one way or another. That's the mystery of life. That's the unknown. So I'd rather believe that rather than, well, she's dead and she's gone and I'm going to be depressed the rest of my life. I'm going to drink myself to sleep every night. I'm just going to be miserable. I'm going to ruin my marriage and ruin my son's future because his parents are messed up, can't get along together, yada, yada. Keep kicking the can down the hill. I mean, good grief. This is where you have to grow up. You have to be a big boy. You have to be a man. Your mom died. That's tragic. But your partner should be there to comfort you. And I bet she probably was. It sounds like she was. Because she was trying to warn him, hey, I can't take this anymore. When does it end? It was in the first year of their relationship. And they're already going on 3 years. It's like, okay, you had plenty of time to mourn over the loss of your mother. But I need you. I need you as a partner. That's what she's probably begging him. And your son needs you too. He's so young. He needs a happy father one way or another. At least a mature and powerfully strong father. You can't just throw in the towel and give up just because your mom died or your dog died. I don't care who died or if your whole family died. Yeah, that sounds mighty tragic, but you still have a life to live, and that's your responsibility, not only for your own future happiness, but to the person that you gave your life and soul to, your soulmate, right? I mean, and then you have a son on top of it. You have a lot to live up to. You can't just all of a sudden turn the immature switch and be like, oh, now I have a reason to play the victim and give my wife the silent treatment. Like, how dare you? You know, she's just as committed as you were when you guys entered the relationship. And now you're going to pull out the victim card and play, oh, I'm a victim. I'm so weak. I can't go on. My mom died. Now I'm going to tell you to get over it. So like I said, honor your mother's memory. Honor her. Because that's what she would want for you, to be happy, to don't stop. That's being a strong, real man right there. So that's what I can say so far. Let's go ahead and continue this. I thought I could find it within myself to be better and to change, but I realized I didn't know how. What do you mean you don't know how? There's no other choice but to get over it. Now, like I said, you can honor her birthday every year, celebrate it, because she might be gone physically, but not in your heart and your mind, right? I was defensive and passive aggressive. See, that's a big problem. You're letting it affect your marriage in a negative way. And mean at times because, mean. I hope that's not abusive, because that's unacceptable. I mean, she's asking for a divorce in such a short time, maybe 1 or 2 years apart. So it's got to be extreme. This has got to be chronic negative behavior from the husband. Because I thought I was fulfilling my end of the bargain. A bargain? Marriage is not a deal. It's a promise. You're vowing to be there for each other, mentally and emotionally and physically. It's not a bargain. You see, that's a problem right there, the way he describes his marriage. A bargain in our marriage. Sadly, I wasn't growing as her partner and was just stagnant. Stagnant means you're not going anywhere. I mean, this is really sad because you have an immature husband here. He wasn't even ready for life, because life will throw at you very, very hard curveballs, let's say, just like baseball. And that curveball, you're not going to even see it coming. It's going to be pitched at you so fast. You better just take a swing and do your best. But if you miss, get over it. There's always the next swing, right? But you got to go from base to base. You got to finish the mission. You got to finish the game of life. Call it whatever you want. But you cannot be stagnant. What happens to cement when it's still? It solidifies. You're not going to go anywhere like that with that type of mindset. Oh my goodness, I can't. And then you're going to go to the bar and try to drink your troubles away. Guess what? Your trouble's going to be right there after you get drunk and take a taxi home. The same troubles that you started with are going to be the same troubles that you're going to end with. Right all over again. What are you going to do? Go get drunk again? Start taking drugs? Having, maybe I should X myself out of my life thoughts? No, that's the wrong answer. So this silent treatment, I totally disagree with. It's quite despicable after a while. Like, I'll give you some time. Maybe half a year, an entire year if you need to, but don't be mean to your wife or passively aggressive and defensive. And, one can only tolerate that for so long. I would say at the extreme, maybe the first couple of months after his mom died. Maybe he's just going to lose control a few times. That's forgivable. But when you have a wife and a son to tend to, I'm willing to bet that his wife was supportive. And his son was just, his son is being his son. He doesn't know any better. He's too young. He's just fresh into the world. Such a tremendous responsibility. To be a good husband and a good father. And you're going to lose it just because your mom died. Like I said, honor her memory. Let's go ahead and move on.
However, I am sleeping in our spare bedroom now and have been trying to be better. I am taking care of my health by working out and eating better. I am seeking counseling and therapy. I am trying to require my brain to actually hear her and have real conversations with her, no matter how hard. I admit I am not a great communicator, but I am trying to learn to be for the sake of us. I know I can be the man she hoped for.
Okay, so the plot thickens. However, I am sleeping in our spare bedroom now and have been trying to be better. What do you mean by better? Like I said, I can understand the first month or 2 months, half a year. Hey, honey, I just need some time alone. Let me just battle with my thoughts and emotions. I accept your help. I'll come to you when I need you. You gotta have a level head. Because if your mom died, that doesn't mean, oh, it's time to forget about my wife and my obligations as a father. No, that's not an excuse. It's no excuse. Everybody's going to try to understand your grievance and try to tend to you and try to help you feel better. That's what friends and family are supposed to do. And even colleagues at work. They're supposed to. They don't have to. But your wife is supposed to. So I imagine that was happening. So to be better, let's see. I am taking care of my health by working out. Okay, that's good. Got to get rid of that aggression and depression. And eating better. That's even better. I am seeking counseling and therapy. Okay, so what's going on? You should have been cured by now. It's been too long, right? I mean, it's okay to have, a little bit of battles here and there, once in a while with the tragic loss, reminiscing, not PTSD style because that would be too much. So, a little bit of trauma here and there. I get it. But if you're already seeking counseling and therapy, you should have been over it by now because, if she's asking for a divorce, it doesn't sound too good. It sounds like you're still being mean and neglectful and emotionally unavailable. I am trying to require my brain to actually hear her. What are you talking about? You mean to listen to your wife and have real conversations with her, no matter how hard? I think he's just trying to struggle through this explanation. I admit I am not a great communicator. Well, that's the problem, isn't it? But I am trying to learn to be for the sake of us. Well, you're not trying hard enough. I mean, she's asking for a divorce. I know I can be the man she hoped for. Okay, so prove it. I mean, it doesn't sound like it so far, or I could be wrong. Maybe she isn't as supportive as what I'm assuming she is. But he's not giving any signs that that's the case. Because he would have stated that my wife isn't too supportive. She doesn't even care about the loss of my mom. He would have said something about what she's explained about the situation. All we know here is that she's asking for a divorce because she can't take the negligence. So it sounds like she's in the clear. Even from his explanation. So let's go ahead and finish this off, shall we?
I am trying my very hardest to grow as a human being in every way. Hopefully it resonates with her because I need my family whole. She was pretty firm in the idea that a divorce is necessary, but I don't necessarily agree.
Okay. So, a little bit of a strange ending here. Maybe a hopeful cliffhanger. I am trying my very hardest. Again, he's saying his very hardest. To grow as a human being in every way. Hopefully it resonates with her because I need my family whole. Well, that's the goal, right? From the very start. She was pretty firm in the idea that a divorce is necessary. So she's insisting that they have to divorce. That's how bad it is. But I don't necessarily agree. Are you serious? What do you mean you don't necessarily agree? Either you... He's not taking it... you see, the problem is the husband, in my conclusion for this case. It sounds like he's the problem. I mean, the way he described this very extreme situation, because it is. I mean, to be asking for a divorce only 3 years into the marriage, already had a son, already committed to buying a house, or whatever the situation is, living in a house together, and already she's asking for a divorce because he's mean and negligent just because his mom died, which is something big, but like I said, you have a responsibility to your wife and to your son and to yourself because you are responsible for your own destiny. If you choose to not get over the death of your mom in a positive way, to honor and cherish her memory for everything that she's given you, because it sounds like you loved her a lot, because a lot of people, they don't have a good mom. They don't have a nice, loving mom. They have a mom who's a narcissist, who'll abuse you verbally or physically or both. So it sounds like he really loved his mom deeply, but guess what? You have to love your spouse deeper than any other love. I don't care if it's family love, because guess what? Your family will understand that. They'll want you to love your spouse more than anybody else in the world. That's how love works. If your love is not that deep, if you don't love your spouse more than anything in the world, then you are not in love. You are not ready to even survive halfway in a lifelong relationship, or a third or less. You're not prepared. You're not mentally and emotionally equipped. You're not mature. You're not intelligent. You're not wise enough. You can't handle it. And that's what this sounds like. This case sounds like a weak husband, that's why he went to go seek counseling and therapy. That's a sad case. It really is, because it's unnecessary. You know, they already have a son. It sounds like they're doing good, but okay, my mom died, so everything's going to go in the trash bin. Seriously? So you're going to ruin 2 lives at the expense of 1. Your mom died. You're still okay. Your wife and your son are okay. But you're going to make things so much worse by edging around a divorce scenario because you can't get a hold of yourself. It's like the movie Top Gun. You know, when Maverick, he has to get over the death of Goose. What happens in the movie? He gets over it, right? I know maybe people will say it's just a movie. No, it's a classic case of you have to get over it. You're going to have a new wingman. You can't replace your mother. So you can't get a new wingman in this case. But there was, the only co-pilot that should exist is your spouse. Your mom was on the side for counsel and for being your mom physically, in order to help you out if you ever need her help. Mental and emotional support, or even physical support. If you get fired from your job and you have nowhere else to go, usually moms are the first to say, hey, you can live with me until you get back on your feet. But this scenario sounds like he just threw in the towel. Because that's the easy thing to do, is say, nah, I'm just going to neglect my spouse. I'm going to take it out on my spouse and be mean to her. As he said, I was mean. So much so that he had to go get therapy and counseling over his mean behavior. I bet it was much worse than that, because if she's asking and insisting that you guys get divorced and you're just kind of like, well, I don't agree. You're not taking this seriously. I think this husband is not marriage material. So yeah, maturity and certainty are absolutely required when making the decision to go all in with someone you choose to marry. You must be certain about everything with no doubts before entering a mature, lifelong relationship. So with that said, I hope you guys learned something or agree. And if you have any comments, go ahead and make them down below. Much love, everybody.